If you told me 6 months ago the person who'd save a billionaire's daughter wasn't a world-class therapist or a live-in nanny with a wall full of degrees, but the cleaning lady, the one who moved through the glass lobby like she was part of the wallpaper, I would have laughed. But let me back up a sec. See, in this world of marble floors and airtight boardrooms, where million-dollar deals get whispered between sips of espresso, the people you never notice sometimes hold the key to everything you're about to lose. The girl's name was Lily, 6 years old, beautiful in that hollow way some kids get after tragedy, like the lights there, just buried deep. Her mom died, sudden, 2 months back. Since then, Lily'd become untouchable, locked away in herself, a ghost haunting her own life. Every specialist in Manhattan had tried and failed. Nannies left in tears, therapists quit, no one could get through. She screamed at kindness, hid from touch, shut the world out so hard the silence started to echo. Even her father, Benjamin Carter, the CEO with more money than patience, was losing it. You know what I mean? When a man who could buy anything suddenly can't fix the thing that matters most, it eats at you. He kept her close at the office, tucked away in a private room on the top floor. A fortress of toys and security cameras. People smiled, she never smiled back. Except, someone was watching. Ruth, the janitor, worked there for 7 months, a navy blue uniform, badge faded to blank. Hands strong but gentle, moved slow and silent like she was always carrying something precious that might break. She saw Lily, but not just with her eyes. She saw her with that kind of ache only people who've lost too much ever learn to carry. One Thursday, Ruth heard a small sound. Pain, pure and simple, echo off the marble. She followed it. Found Lily behind a pillar, knees tucked to her chest, shaking. Ruth didn't say a word, just knelt, bones creaking, and from her pocket pulled out this ragged, homemade teddy bear, ears uneven, fabric worn but soft. She set it down between them, sat back, waited. Lily looked up, tears streaked across her face, and just took the bear. Stopped crying, like the world paused for a second, and something cracked open inside them both. It became a ritual after that. Lily, who'd shut out everyone, started appearing in the lobby at odd hours, always drawn to Ruth. Sometimes Ruth told her stories. Turtles who couldn't swim, foxes who learned to cry, a bottle cap who wanted to be a star. Other times, they just sat in silence, breathing the same air. People started to notice, like, what is it with this janitor and the CEO's kid? Even the cranky cafe manager began leaving out a free cup of warm milk, sprinkled with cinnamon, like some kind of truce offering. Meanwhile, Benjamin was losing it upstairs. All his plans, his protocols, failed. He'd watched security footage, trying to understand, why was Lily drawn to this woman? Why did she smile for Ruth and no one else? He asked Lily once, gentle as he could, "Why do you like Ruth?" And the girl just hugged the bear and said, "She doesn't talk to me like I'm broken." Yeah, that happened. You could see the words hit Benjamin like a sucker punch. But the thing is, Ruth had a story too. Used to be an elementary school teacher in Newark, beloved, devoted. The kind of person who made kids want to go to school. Then came the fire. One night, her building caught on fire, her son Elijah trapped inside. She tried, God she tried, but they pulled her out too late. After that, she vanished. No job, no trace, just faded out of her own life. Until Carter Labs. Until Lily. One rainy afternoon, Lily asked Ruth straight out, "Do you have kids?" Ruth froze, then told her about Elijah, about the fire, about what it means to carry a grief that never really lets go. They sat in silence, hand in hand. Two broken hearts breathing together. That was the day Benjamin decided to find out who Ruth really was, digging into her past. When the truth came out, how this invisible woman had given her whole heart to teaching and lost it all, something shifted. He saw her, really saw her, maybe for the first time. But nothing's ever simple, right? Word got out. HR started talking ethics violations. Investors raised eyebrows. Some cleaning lady getting close to the CEO's kid. What's that about? There were memos, legal threats, all the usual corporate smoke. Benjamin was torn. He didn't want to lose Ruth, didn't want to break Lily again. Ruth herself, she didn't want pity, didn't want to be anyone's charity case. She just wanted to be herself, tell her stories, find a little peace. Then Lily ran away, disappeared one afternoon, left the office. found Ruth at the old Carter Labs building, the place where it all started. When Benjamin found them, Lily just looked up, eyes red, clutching the bear, and said, "Don't send her away, Daddy. She's the only one who listens." And in that moment, Benjamin realized it wasn't about rules or reputation anymore. It was about choosing dignity over protocol, choosing what's right over what's easy. He fired the cleaning company, offered Ruth a new job, lead a wellness program for the kids at Carter Labs, design it her way, not out of charity, but because she was the only one who knew how to heal what the world had broken. The board pushed back, of course. Some folks quit. Others were inspired. The company changed. Ruth was no longer invisible. Kids started to gather around her, drawn to her stories, her silence, her strength. Even the executives brought their children to listen, as if hoping a little bit of that magic would rub off. A year later, Carter Labs had an entire wing named after Elijah, sunlight streaming in through huge windows, laughter echoing down the halls, books and teddy bears and hope stitched into every corner. Ruth spoke at the anniversary, voice steady, eyes full. "If you know someone like me," she said, "someone you never notice, don't walk past them. Sit, listen, ask them for a story." The whole room stood up. And me? I think about how sometimes, in a city of glass and ambition, the quietest person in the room is the one holding it all together. The ending? It's never really an ending, is it? People still whisper about Ruth, about that little girl and her bear, about what it means to find home in a place that never planned on giving it to you. But here's what matters. Stories save lives. Sometimes the best thing you can do is sit with someone in their darkness, not trying to fix them, just letting them know they're seen. So what do you think? Was Benjamin right to break the rules for Ruth? Would you have done the same? Drop your thoughts below, because out there, someone's always listening for a story that sounds a little like hope. Funny thing is, even when everything looks perfect on the outside, sunlight streaming through spotless windows, the hum of polished ambition in every corner, sometimes you realize the real battle has only just begun. After that day, when Benjamin stood up for Ruth, you could feel the building breathe different. Like someone finally cracked a window open in a room that had been locked too long. But the world outside didn't clap, didn't welcome this change the way you'd hope. The board didn't care about stories. They cared about numbers, risk, perception. Investors muttered behind closed doors. Emails flew with words like exposure and precedent and unqualified, as if compassion could get measured on a spreadsheet. Ruth felt it. Sideways glances in the elevator. Conversations cut short when she stepped into the break room. You know how people get when their world tilts, even just a little. They scramble to shove it back into shape, act like nothing's different. But you can see the cracks if you look close. One Monday, the new Elijah Project wing opened, and kids started trickling in, some shy, some wild, some so silent you'd think words might shatter them if spoken too loud. Ruth moved through that space like she'd always belonged, telling stories, tying shoes, humming lullabies that floated over the noise. Lily was her shadow, helping, laughing, showing the other kids how to draw bridges with broken crayons. Every so often, Ruth would pause, close her eyes, let the sunlight warm her face, just breathing it all in. You could tell she was remembering someone, maybe all the ones she'd lost. Of course, nothing gold ever stays, corporate called. They wanted numbers, wanted outcomes. One suit from HR, sharp and nervous, came by to observe. He sat in the corner, scribbling on a notepad, face blank as a wall. Ruth just kept doing what she did, stories about lost dogs finding home, paper boats sailing impossible rivers. Afterward, the suit cornered Benjamin. "We have protocols. Liability. Her past is unusual." Benjamin just looked at him, real calm, and said, "Protocols didn't save my daughter. Ruth did. She's not going anywhere." And that was that. Or so he thought. A week later, a rumor started, some anonymous complaint about Ruth's boundaries, about getting too close. You know how a whisper can grow fangs in an office? Suddenly parents were divided, some grateful, some scared by what they didn't understand. One afternoon, as rain tapped the glass, a new kid arrived, Mason, 9, with a stare that dared anyone to come close. His father was some big shot in finance, and rumor had it, Mason hadn't spoken since his mom left. The kid sat in a corner, arms folded, jaw clenched. Ruth approached, slow as always, and sat beside him. Didn't say a word. Lily watched, worried, remembering her own first days. Ruth took out a string and started tying knots, humming under her breath, waiting. Eventually Mason glanced over, eyes curious. Ruth handed him the string. And without thinking, Mason began to braid. Later, Lily asked, "How'd you know he liked that?" Ruth just shrugged. Sometimes hands talk before words do. From that day, Mason showed up every afternoon, string in his pocket, following Ruth like a lost puppy. People noticed. The kid who wouldn't speak was laughing, drawing, alive again. But the backlash was building. An anonymous article appeared online. Tech CEO replaces therapist with unlicensed janitor for employee children. The media pounced. Social threads lit up. Half the comments pure outrage. Half stories of gratitude from parents whose kids were finally sleeping through the night. Carter Labs' stock price dipped. Benjamin faced the board. This time, some were angry, some scared. "You have to make her go," they said. "Think about the company, about your daughter." That night, Benjamin sat alone in his office, head in his hands, watching the lobby camera. Ruth and Lily, side by side, reading under the fluorescent light, both so small and steady in a world that wanted them to vanish. He called Ruth in, voice low. "I'm sorry. I might not be able to protect you." Ruth just looked at him, gentle and firm. "I never needed protection. I needed to be seen." She stood, eyes bright with unshed tears. "If they push me out, I'll go. But I'll never regret showing Lily she wasn't alone." Lily found out the next morning, overheard adults whispering, caught fragments like terminated and scandal. She ran to Ruth, clung tight, eyes wild with panic. "Don't leave me." Ruth knelt down, brushed a tear from Lily's cheek. "No one can erase the stories we shared. Not ever." That afternoon, the Elijah Project wing was packed. Kids, all tangled together. Benjamin took Lily's hand, stood beside Ruth, and said, "Sometimes you have to fight for the story that matters. Sometimes you have to risk everything for what's right." The next day, an emergency board vote. Some wanted Ruth gone, some wanted to double down. The vote was split, but then the staff spoke. Emails, letters, signatures from parents and employees. Carter Labs changed its policy, inviting real people, not just titles, to help build its future. The media came around, slowly, one outlet running a headline. "The janitor who healed Silicon Valley's coldest heart." And Ruth, for the first time, didn't flinch at being seen. "You want a neat ending? I can't give you one." Some people still whisper, still don't get it. But that's life. In the cafe, in the garden, in the sunlight of the new wing, Ruth and Lily keep building their bridge, one story, one child at a time. Messy thing called connection? Leave your thoughts below. Share a story if you've got one. Because in a world full of glass and ambition, sometimes it's the invisible hands that hold us up the strongest.